The Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary International Students Edition defines the word vulnerable as weak and easily hurt, physically or emotionally. Hey guys, I'm Ebube and you're listening to the Watch Bear podcast. Right now, it's Monday, the 25th of May, 2020. This is my first podcast episode, so I'm going to keep things as short as I can. I will be talking on being vulnerable and its hidden lessons. 2020 has been a year. It has been a ride of ups and downs, highs and lows. The events of this year have stripped me bare to my fears. So everything I say is based on my own vulnerabilities, but very much relatable to everyone. Sometimes I hear a word and it invokes a memory. The first time I really took note of the word vulnerable was when I was breaking up a previous relationship. My ex-partner said I was making him feel vulnerable. I was young and naive, so I didn't really know the amount of discomfort I was putting him through. Well, I was much, much younger, and from that point till now, I have experienced my own share of vulnerability in different ways. Starting my first business made me vulnerable. Starting over a new course made me vulnerable. Having new roommates every year also made me vulnerable. Applying for a TEDx event license, taking on new projects, and remembering the failures of previous ones comes with a feeling of exposure so crippling. I started a media outlet in March this year, and before I pitched it to my friends, I sat in doubt and shame for as long as 30 minutes or more. On one end, my academic hope was crumbling, and that was a situation that was completely beyond my control. And the other end, I was thinking of starting a new venture. A voice kept on telling me not to bother starting something that would fail too. What helped me was the safe place I found in friends. Yes, let me take this time to give a shout out to the following people: Taiwo, Nathan, Moyo, Tari, Udwak, and Ruth. The list is endless, but in no particular order. These friends and more have seen me at my lowest and have had to bear with my excesses. This episode is dedicated to the treasures we have in friends that show up and care. My latest venture is a child of courage because I leaned into the courage and desire to serve others. More info on my media outlet next week. I'll be dropping links and information concerning my project. Now, I spent time thinking of people doing things I wanted to do and thinking of how disadvantaged I was. Most of them have rich siblings and parents, some are well connected in society. Very much true. But what I didn't see was that nobody has it easy. And what really makes a few stand out is their decision to be courageous and go after the things they want in spite of their fears. There is always a possibility that things won't always work out. Where is the certainty that anyone can go through a pandemic era without being infected? Vulnerability is basically uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Let me say it again. Vulnerability is basically uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. I think that was said by Brené Brown. I love her works. She gave a TED talk on vulnerability and shame. You can find it on YouTube. Her books are available. They are really good. Now, vulnerability can be very uncomfortable. An example for me would be in my relationships. There is always a rising urge in me to know where it is heading towards. So I spend my time strategizing how I would act without being too forward. It's good to be clear with intentions, no mind game, and consistent with reciprocating actions. But when this assurance is not forthcoming, what do you do? I'm focused on spending forever rather than making the best of today. It's either we are on or off. black or white. This time is teaching me to lean towards the gray status of things. It teaching me that it is okay to be neutral. In the present times, fears may be present, but they are more or less irrelevant. In the present times, fears may be present, but they are more or less irrelevant. I read somewhere that vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. In a time when it is clear nothing is certain, it is best to lean into the truth of the situation and be brave enough to show up despite it. Our level of control is somewhat limited, and that is okay. We can only control our reactions and response mechanism, and that is what is really important. In summary, use shame to your advantage. Surround yourself with people that hold your hand in vulnerable moments. Moments of transformation usually occur after moments of vulnerabilities are utilized. After this pandemic, a lot of people would have had more than enough time to view their lives for what it is and make adjustments where needed. Don't tap out when you feel exposed. Be aware of the way you feel, but don't throw in the towel. Hi, I'm Ebube, and you have been listening to the Watch Bear podcast. Do follow the Watch Bear podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And if you haven't, subscribe on all media platforms. Rate, review this podcast. Thank you for listening. Join me next week. Bye.